Hello and welcome to episode 27. We're back with Blake and Granny. Welcome and hello, Granny, and hello, Blake. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning, Octo. I'm actually a bit surprised because when we were doing the countdown there, I'm watching the clock go down, no record button on, and I'm thinking, and I'm saying it, and I knew you couldn't hear me. I'm going, press record. And I thought, we're going to have to redo the start, but you did it in the end.
No,
well done.
Yeah, good.
That's right. Well, I think I've told it numerous times. The only editing that I do on this video is actually slicing that little front bit out. So the less I have to, press record for, the better it is. But I think Granny, and Blake to a lesser degree, we're actually talking about this behind the scenes, and I think we're going to get a little bit more hate mail for this video because we're actually we're taking aim a little bit at tech and sports. So why not? So for all those that come to hate watch, hello and welcome, and don't forget to hit the dislike button. Make sure, see if we can beat the record for last time we did a video like this. But
yeah, well, I mean, look, any what is it? Any publicity?
Publicity.
That's right. But I suppose before you hit that dislike button, and you're throwing your arms around, like you're going, I suppose, for lack of a better term, a disgruntled octopus. But maybe you have a sit down and watch the whole video just to see what we come across. Because you didn't do that last time because I suppose from my perspective, we try to improve the group. We had a lot of flack, unnecessarily, I think. I'm pretty sure everyone's up to date with the latest involvement, but that all these people that had a go at us, on Instagram and all these different things, a week later they all flipped, they all dropped that group and moved to a new group. So I think if anything, you've got to have a deep hard look at yourselves as well. So exactly. But like I said, it's nothing. It's nothing.
It is one of the worst. I mean, with all the videos we've done and some of the comments we get, the worst thing is getting someone that actually responds, by just what we've put on the thumbnail and in the description and hasn't actually watched the video, or only watches the first couple of minutes of the video and doesn't actually watch it through to see what the progression is and what we say. And that's a little bit frustrating, I find.
That's right. What's your stance, Blake? I know you don't really have much buy-in because you went on the I suppose the end of the barrel last time, but
no, I agree 100%. Like, people need to it's basically constructive analysis, I guess you could say, like, about whatever the videos, whatever we talk about, sort of thing. Like, me personally, we might be saying stuff about tech, but I love tech. He's very helpful for a lot of people. So it's like, we're not just saying we hate this person and all that kind of thing. It's more of a conscientious observer or whatever you call it.
Well, I suppose from my perspective, right? Like, before we hit the drop-off thing where everyone, gets their pitchforks and torches and runs off and do the dislike button. My stance is that I admire Tech for his business acumen and as and like, I don't know the guy as a person, right? So I can't comment saying I think he's a nice guy or I think all these different things. His commitment and his dedication to his business and his business knowledge is second to none what I've seen on YouTube, right? So I would strongly suggest if you are needing some initial support, if you're in the early stages of reselling, probably check out his free content. I'm not a member of his Patreon group. I'm not a member of his Facebook group, but when we were previously, a lot of the same themes came up on a weekly basis. So what you're probably seeing on YouTube in his podcast and all the different things are doing, that's probably accessible from his free content. And I wouldn't recommend necessarily jumping straight into his Facebook group. What I will say is that
first, do all that first. And then, if you are keen on it, then you go into his Patreon group and join I think it's $4.99 US, but it works out about $9 something, I think, for us, $8 or $9. If anything, do that. Listen to all the podcasts first. I mean, that's what we did initially anyway, and it's how I did it. I listened to every single podcast that was available on that lower tier, because you're getting that content at a much more reasonable price.
Yeah,
and then you can decide, do you want to go in and join the group? Do it that way.
And I suppose, like, before I cut Blake off, is that I suppose the theme of this episode is about sourcing, how to source, how to learn your products and all these different things. So it's not like cheap shots at tech and sports or anything along that. Like I said, Blake and I dare say Grady as well, have a deep admiration for his business acumen and all these different things. I think from my personal stance and, a bit of feedback, we're not trying to, capitalize, or we're not trying to, like get clout or all these different things. If we were doing that, we'd be releasing a video crying when we left the group. We didn't do that. Particularly a lot of other people did, and you can probably look at their YouTube channels and work out who. But we didn't. We basically said, all right, this is the the situation we looked at, and we've said numerous times, and I dare say Blake's the same as well, is that I personally would not have anyone on this channel that has ulterior motives, right? So, Granny and Blake, we've dealt with each other, quite a bit. Blake, I've known Granny for a long time, and I've got a lot of great admiration for her. So I've asked her to come on the podcast, and Blake as well. It's probably just, I suppose it was part of the restraining order, wasn't it, Granny? Because it was a bit stalkerish a little bit. So we just thought to ourselves we'd get him on because at least we know where he is. So when he's not behind the window, tapping on the window, just let me in kind of thing. So, but like I said, that what you see with us is that, lack of a better term, and I apologise for the French, there's no bullshit, right? We don't have any ulterior motive. We're not here to sell you, courses. We're not here to sell you Discord groups, even though Granny has one and it's free. And from everything that I've heard externally, people that reached out to me think it's phenomenal. I'm a member of it. I don't go in there as much as I would like to, just by time constraints. But if you are looking at a Discord group or a community one on the back of what we spoke about last week, start there, because like I said, it's been all the feedback that I've had personally, and I'm pretty sure Blake and Granny are the same. It's been fantastic. So, and I will put that in the description. Granny, just remind me to do it because I'll forget.
You will.
Like I didn't last time. But what it comes down to is that when you are watching YouTubers, when you are watching anyone, and this goes for tech and sports as well, is that you making money is a consequence of them making money, right? So let that sink in. That what I will say about tech before I forget about it is that you need to listen to what he is saying. What I found personally when I was in the daily refinement group, and this is nothing against tech, nothing along the lines of this, is people romanticize about tech. They romanticize about his business model. They romanticize about how much money he makes and all these different things. Tech works bloody hard, and let's be honest, right? He's winding his business down. So the content that he's able to provide as an eBay reseller will gradually diminish over time. He'll still have the business acumen and all those different things, but you need to listen to what he's actually saying. I've been watching his free content that he's been on YouTube, and just going through the comment section, it's almost like a state of euphoria or delirious, and
and it is a thing. Look, because they put him up on a pedestal and he's a star, right? That's essentially the feeling that I get from a lot of people. Yet I've spoken to the guy in his calls that he did in the daily refinement group. He's just a guy. He's just a man, but he's a very smart man. And I will say that, one of the things I admire about him is his openness. If you ask him questions, if you're willing to ask him questions, he will answer them. And you can do that even in the $4.99, as I said, the $9 call tier for Australia, $4.99 US. Even in that tier, he does calls every month where you can actually go in and ask him questions. So my advice would be that if you've got questions about your business that you would like to get feedback on from someone like Tech who has achieved so much in reselling, just make a list and fire him at him. He loves it. If you've got a list of questions and you quick fire him at him, he loves that. He really does. And
the only caveat I would put on that is that if you're an Australian reseller or you're from the UK or something along to that, just be mindful that he's a US reseller, right? I'm not saying he hasn't dealt outside the different realms, but what he says in relation to tax, in relation to eBay, in relation to sales and sell-through rate and conversion rates and all these different things are applicable to what he knows back to front, and that's the US market. If you're operating in the US market, fantastic. We have no problems. And like we said before, we don't have a problem with tech. It's just a case that we will progress to the tech talk later on. But what we want to do is we kind of want to feed that straight up, because like last time, we brought it up as a caveat. We have no problem with daily refinement. We have no problem with tech. These are the things we would like improved. Anyone would think we burnt their house down because the way that people carry on, and without actually doing the due course. And I would hazard, and this is what we spoke about last week with regards to communities. If people are reacting like that, I suppose for lack of a better term, they're flipping their wig or irrational.
Emotionally.
emotionally irrational, what kind of statement does that say for that person? You know, if they're not able to look at something subjectively and say, hey, look, maybe that person isn't, the complete fountain of knowledge. Yeah, look, I'll go as far to say, Tech knows a lot of stuff. However, he does not know everything, right? So there'll be things that he doesn't come across, and these are the things that the coaches that are provided in his courses and all those different things. So.
And that's the thing, and one thing that I'll say, because that was one of the things when I did have a conversation with him, and he's he knows brands, but he knows the brands that sell in the US. And like I even mentioned RM Williams, which is a very, very well-known brand here in Australia, but he hadn't heard of that brand before. And that's, so you've got to take those things into consideration, like the fact that it is very US-based, and I found the Daily Refinement group, one of the things I did find in there was that even the Facebook group was very brand orientated. Like, it wasn't so much about the types of things or that sort of thing. It was just brand orientated. That was a lot about that. But on an interesting side note about Daily Refinement, so I just thought I'd go in and have a look and see how they were going, and popped into Patreon to see how many members they had, and I can't see because I'm blocked.
Oh, okay. Well, Blake,
so
have you blocked the granny from his? Oh, that's right. Well, I have had conversations with Chris Lynn previously, and he didn't invite me back to the group. So, but like I said in the past, where I I have nothing more to get from that group. I suppose
I've got someone at the door.
All right, we'll get rid of you.
Go on.
Get rid of me.
We'll be entertaining.
All right, we'll get rid of you. There she's gone. Quick. Oh. All right, Granny, we can't see you. All right, let's talk.
How are you, Octo?
This has just gotten awkward. She's gone away again. Perfect timing. I suppose it's the NBN person that's probably come to fix her internet.
Yeah, probably. She's the one that does all the talking, so it's a bit awkward now.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We can't take her anywhere. But going back to the Daily Refinement thing and all those different things, is like I was saying, is that people act really irrational because, like Liam was saying, they put them on a pedestal, and that's not by virtue of themselves that I've found. I didn't think that either, Chris Lynn or Tech, provided, hey, look, I'm this person, put me on a pedestal. That might be different to other people's opinions, but it's only what I've found. Oh, she's back.
Yeah.
That was the NBN man who's supposed to be coming at between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock to fix my NBN. And there he is knocking at my door. And I said, well, you weren't meant to come here till 1 o'clock. I can't do it now.
So you like the gracious old lady, this guy sitting on the doorstep till 1 o'clock.
Well, yeah.
Well, he's got an hour and 24 minutes later.
Well, you have some lunch or something,
Well, that's right. But I suppose that's what I want to lead in with this, because a lot of people, like I said, that make assumptions and maybe make a 5-part Instagram story, crying and calling us every name under the sun and basically saying how we're tearing families apart like they did last time. But what I do is I implore you to watch the video and look from a constructive point of view. Like, if you don't agree with us, I don't particularly care. This is what our opinion is, right? So if your opinion is different to that, so good. I have no problem with that. Let's have an adult/octopus conversation in the chat. Grumpy Granny and Blake are down there as well if you want to have a chat to them as well. But like I said, that just using immaturity or having lines drawn in the sand where you have an affiliation to one YouTuber or another, I don't particularly care. Like I said, that if you blindly follow people to do every part of your business, that I personally seen in the Daily Refinement group, especially in the Australian call, you will fail, and you can write that to the bank, right? Like, I will tell you right now that 5 years down the track, you will not exist as a business entity in any essence if you continue down that track. But anyway, that's enough of that pleasantries at the start. But I suppose today's episode, Leanne, was that I was having a bit of a chat to a gentleman or a gentleman's that reached out to me in regards to that, I suppose sourcing and all these different things. And that's pretty much what I wanted to branch out from today, is that like without saying names, that they've been watching it. I was going to say an Australian YouTuber, but let's say an Australian YouTuber, right? And they've been following their business model to the T, and they've acquired a lot of stock that, let's face it, they're trash, right? Like,
so I'm going to assume there, when you're talking about this, that you're talking about them following a Australian YouTube reseller versus a reseller YouTuber.
It's me. They're following me.
Well, that's right. Well, yeah. So I suppose I don't, as much as my little rant at the start, just re-solidifying that I am the disgruntled octopus. I don't really care about labels, right? Like, one thing or another. I don't. I'm not going to say, hey, this person's better than this person, all those different things. I will call out when people are bullshitting, for lack of a better term. Giving down wrong information. So I did tell this person to basically bin their collection or sell it locally on Facebook Marketplace because it's complete trash. And both Lee and Blake seen that, and I think that they would tend to agree with me. Like, I don't want to put them into the
I have to say, I did watch their video, which good on them for doing a video, and welcome to the YouTube world. And that's hard to do, put yourself out there. But I have to say, I was a bit stunned and a bit aghast when I saw all the stock. Like,
like I said, this person, is relatively new, and I wasn't going to bring up that they had a YouTube channel. So, good job, Leanne, because I didn't ask them. But long story short, that I did have a bit of a chat to them, and kind of said to them, look, realistically, I probably wouldn't go into that market. And the way the conversation progressed, right? They asked me what they should source and what they should look at, all these different things. And so that's why I want to kind of talk about this. This episode, we will talk a little bit tech, and this conversation will flow into the tech stuff because, like I said, I've been absorbing his content lately, and I have been enjoying it. So you can put your pitchforks and your torches down, but there are some things that I want to draw attention to, or where I want to provide some commentary on. I don't particularly care if he agrees, or you probably won't even watch this, but I don't particularly care if he agrees or disagrees on all those different things. This is my opinion on what we find from our perspective, right? That's not to say it's wrong, and it's not to say he's wrong. It's just that we're in different markets, or we're different business people, or we're different parts of a business, all those different things. So I just want to provide a little bit of commentary, especially coming up to the end of the year. And what Blake and I were talking about earlier is that at the start of the new year, right, we're going to see a lot more resellers come into the market. It happens every year. And then by April, they're all putting their eBay stores on Facebook Marketplace because they can't do it anymore because they didn't realize how hard it was, or they're bleeding money because they're following YouTubers that are providing subpar information. What I said to this gentleman this morning that I spoke to was that certain YouTubers, and like 99.9% of the YouTubers, tech does and doesn't fall into that equation, if you want to take it that way. Watch them from an educational purpose only, right? So don't follow them flawlessly. Don't.
You mean watch them for entertainment? You mean?
That's what I meant. What did I say? Education, didn't I?
Educational.
Well, that's right. Watch them for education.
Don't watch them for educational purposes.
Yeah.
Watch them for entertainment purposes.
Yeah. What she said. Don't listen to me because I'm not editing the video to fix it up. So watch them for entertainment purposes only, right? So like I said, that tech would probably fall into that 0.001% where I would say the educational purposes, like, because he's quite dry, right? Like, tech's like, I kind of enjoy that content because it's quite refreshing in the sense that like there's no entertainment perspective. He's just basically spitting what he needs to get across, and that's it, right? So if you need that,
how it is.
Well, that's right. If I would hazard,
the thing is, you could take one of his videos where he does his spiel on, sourcing, and researching before you go sourcing and that sort of thing. You could play that video over and not watch any of his other content, but just keep going on what's on that one video. And if you kept on playing that same content every day and listening to it, and let it sink in and actually take notice of what he's saying, you'd learn more than what you would watching 50 other YouTubers.
Yeah. So
apart from us.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, don't watch us because I watch Granny and Blake, but don't watch me. But the fact of the matter is, right, that if there's production value in a video, so if there's more than one camera angle, so you're looking at me like this, and you're looking at Granny like that, and you're looking at Blake like that. All of a sudden, if we start doing different camera angles and all these different things, they're probably more entertainment, right? Like, they're trying to get you to watch because it's interesting and all those different things. Tech's not like that. He just basically sits in front of a camera and just dribbles on for an hour about all the different things. And that's, like I said,
in a plain room, just like Blake.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Blake's trying to be an Australian tech, but the fact of the matter is that you need to look at it from a perspective. If it's a production value, like they look like they're trying to run home and away, or they're basically flipping things around and having disco parties or music in the background. You kind of think to yourself, well, why? And as far as I suppose sourcing videos as well is what really makes me a bit cranky. Is that let's go for a trip to the thrift, or let's go to a trip to the op shop or something lines of this. And then they start grabbing shirts and bringing it up in front of you, and that. Especially new resellers are, quite impressionable. And, like Leanne and Blake and I have fallen into this mistake before, is that we see something on YouTube. I've seen, Grumpy Granny pick that up, so I'll pick it up. Then, it won't sell because, there's no market for it. Or, that Grumpy Granny has a following of 20,000 people and, one of those people bought it.
I find the interesting thing with sourcing videos that people do on YouTube is that, there's very few that actually will tell you in the end what their profit is. And even the ones that do show, like they might show like, I'll use the example of Part-Time Picker, for example, who will tell you, what he listed it for at the end. Some of the stuff he has sold and you get the sold value, but a lot of times, even if they show you the prices, it's what they've listed it for. You don't find out what it actually sold for and how much profit they ended up making.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference.
And I suppose, like I said earlier, oops, sorry, Luke, go on. We didn't know if you were still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I was going to say, I kind of get that though, because I don't do that either, and I say that I'm not educational, I'm entertainment, so don't watch me for education either. Even though I try to bring some value there, but if you're waiting for everything to sell and went over what it sold for, I mean, it's going to take forever to even put out a video. So
100%. I agree with that. But what I'm just sort of trying to make the point that, you see people picking up stuff. Don't always think that it's going to be the best stuff because you don't know with the end result, do you?
Oh, sure. I've picked up things and said, I'll get 30 for that. And in reality, I might have got 18 because I took an offer. So you don't know for sure. It doesn't mean that shirt, every brand of that shirt is going to be worth $30. I completely get what you're saying, but
And I suppose you see it if anything, these people are after clout, right? They're after either financial reasons, they basically get views on videos which convert to ad revenue, or that they're trying to do it for their own ego and all these different things, or they might be just filming their journey, which is fine. No disrespect to that, but like I said, that a lot of people fall into the trap when they first come into reselling. They watch these videos with high production videos because it's what YouTube pushes to them, right? Because people with 100,000 subscribers or 50,000 subscribers, 30,000 subscribers are the videos that are being punched to you, and they're the ones going, hey, look, buy all these paper plates, or buy all these T-shirts, or buy all these DVDs, or buy all these VHS tapes. And I don't even go as far to say that the content that may be being pushed across to you could be 2 years old. I was in a live yesterday where they were saying that they watched a YouTube video and they started sourcing on the basis of that YouTube video, and the YouTube video was 2 years old and the market's moved on from there. So they can't get rid of that stock because, like I said, that because people start romanticizing about reselling, right? It happens every year. I can tell you from experience because I've been selling for quite a while. I see it every year. We used to have a running joke in a Lego group that we were in, is that you would see all these people at the start of January, and we used to say, well, we won't see them in May. And by April that it would be like kind of a chat room, right, where we would bounce off different ideas and how to sell things and all those different things. Then, come in April that you'd never seen this person again because they didn't realize how hard it was, or how much financial outlay it is, or even how long things take to sell. Because, Chris Furlong talks about, length of times listed before it sells and all those different things. So that's, and like Blake was saying, is because, the amount of editing work and all those different things. Blake's got over 1,000 subscribers and making $4,000 a month in YouTube revenue. But in all seriousness, unless you've got 100,000, 200,000 subscribers, and getting the views, that consideration with that, you don't have enough money for an editor. You can't just go, all right, here's all my raw footage and off you go. Like Blake's got to run his business. He's got to do the YouTube channel. He's got to do the podcast. He's got to, stalk me around, make sure I'm, in his eyesight at all times.
Yeah.
All these things going on his plate at the same time. He can't, I suppose, like a better term, he doesn't owe anything to his viewership, I suppose. Like,
no. And like I was meant to put out a video last night and I didn't because I got whacked with the old COVID stick. I've been out friggin', and I'm like, okay, well, I don't have the energy to do that. So this week I'm gonna just focus on the business because that comes first. And
Yes,
like,
yeah,
I love making the YouTube videos and stuff, but that has to come first.
Yeah.
So
well, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it pays the bills. Because realistically, YouTube revenue is not that much. Like, not that we'd know because I don't get any because I piss everyone off before they subscribe.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
So at recording, I need 4 to become monetized. So after people watch the show, I'll probably need 104 to become monetized again.
Yeah, well, you'll lose subscribers after the upload, like I do.
Well, that's right. Oh, I haven't got any in the last couple of weeks, but that's fine. There's no problem with that. Like I said, that I'm not doing it for my own ego, and I suppose, for lack of a better term, and if you have got this far, I'll give you a bit of background story because I keep getting asked about the octopus costume, if you will. The reason, I suppose, the lack of
he's actually a really famous star, and he doesn't want anyone to know who he is.
Well, like I said, you see me in all my my regular YouTube videos that I upload. Just a bit of a voice modulator makes it a bit different. I'm hanging in the back of my garage if you can work that link out. I suppose that like a lot of people ask me, is it
I like that big beer can, by the way. That was pretty cool.
Well, that's right. That's quite good. Yeah. A lot of people ask me though, do I do it because is it for like being anonymous? Is it because I'm famous, or is it because I don't want people to know who I am, or all these different things? I don't particularly care about that. Like I can tell you right now, like I'm a nobody. Like I'm less of a nobody than the other guy down there. So like like down there.
He's actually David Attenborough.
It could be. I thought it was Barry Manilow. I can't work it out. But the fact of the matter is that the reason why I don't tell people who I am is not because I don't particularly care about being anonymous, or I don't want to be like. The fact of the matter is I don't have an ego. Like, I'm quite extroverted. I've got no problems with that. So it's not as if it's introverted and I don't want people to know what I look like. It's because I'm extroverted. The fact of the matter is that I've got no ego. I don't want to be associated with people saying, "Oh, hey, look, the octopus told me this. I'm going to do that." So it's almost like a medium for me to provide across context that's a bit across the board. Like that you can what's the word I'm after, Leanne? So, something along the lines of that I can cross-reference, or I can almost dissect stuff as a nameless entity.
I think it's one of those things that I've said several times, even with the Grumpy Granny persona and the Octo costume, is that we can actually get away with a bit more with what we say because we are a persona, not actually that person behind the persona. Well, I think I'm pretty much the same person anyway, but it does allow us that ability to actually, be a bit more straight and a bit more down to earth and no bullshit. Basically, like we can do that. Yeah.
Well, that's
we don't have to be polite and nice and
that's right. Because we've said numerous times.
Yeah, like you, mate. Yes.
We're not here to, make enemies. We're not here to make friends. Or we would like to be friends. We would like to have been acquaintances and all those different things. But we're not here to provide you guff or pretend we like you. Or hit the subscribe button and we'll be friends. And like I was talking to this gentleman this morning. That he reached out to another YouTuber and said that they weren't much help. But then on the other side is that I had some downtime, so I was happy to engage with him because I got no issues. And like I said that. I said, like, I did caveat saying, "Hey, look, if you want my personal opinion, you're going to get it." But all those different things. But like I said, I don't want to be seen as being, like in the op shop, for example. Like I know Uncle Wayno and Diary of a Flipper have said it numerous times. It's where people go, "Oh my god, that's Diary of a Flipper," and they start following them around, and it's like almost like starstruck or awestruck and all those different things.
Well, I mean, it was a bit like the day I went to Ballarat with Blake, like, that Linton guy, like he was just starstruck when he found out who I was, wasn't he, Blake? He just was speechless.
I wouldn't
really,
say starstruck.
Well, he was pretty speechless, though, wasn't he?
This is what happens when you get to 600 subscribers, Blake.
Oh, you're world famous. Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that, like I said, that it's more of to provide a constructive narrative, I suppose, from the sense that like there's no reason why you can't be the person under the costume per se.
I think
to look at it from that perspective.
you can be blunt, basically,
Yeah,
and say, this is my opinion, this is how it is, with no fluff.
that's right. And yeah, like
Which
I
is
said,
how I got kicked out of the daily refinement group, by the way.
So the fact of the matter is, right, like, I don't have a beef with anyone, right? I don't particularly care, or nor do I interest myself in politics and all those different things. Like, it's a case of saying, hey, look, if someone's doing something wrong or something I don't agree with, and I've got proof to back that up, I'm not going to start shooting my mouth off and say, hey, look, jumping on the daily refinement bandwagon like the Rockstar Flipper did, all those different things. That's no consequence to me, because I don't have the proof to back it up, so I'm not going to provide a narrative on that, like we said before. However, if someone is saying something along lines of that, we will call them out. Like I said in a couple of episodes again, that with YouTubers making mentorship programs and Discord groups and charging money for those, and not even telling people what they're actually being charged for or what product they're receiving for that money, is that it's just ludicrous to me. And there is a bit of flack, and unfortunately that person that has, I suppose, ostracized us and ostracized a lot of other people we know in the community for this, for the same opinion, is that, or he could have, or they could have, circumvented that by saying, okay, sorry, I wasn't completely transparent. This is what I'm providing for that money. And then, the issue would have been blown over. Like, it would have been going, okay, cool. That is worth money, or that is value for money, or all those different things.
Yeah. And look, I do have to say, with my Discord, like, I'm sure people just think, because every time they go in there's something new, because I find something new to add, or someone asks for something. But you might be getting different things all the time, but the price is going to stay the same, isn't it? Free.
Well, that's right. But like we said last week, that don't limit yourself to one community, is because you don't want to get to that stance that like I said, I have nothing against Granny, and I think her Discord's good, and a lot of people have said the same thing. But like, if you're dealing with the same people day in, day out, that doesn't give you any professional or personal growth. If you're just dealing with the same people. But if you, like I said, if you jump in a different couple of groups, if you are in the Tech and Sports Facebook group, and all, if you are in the Discord group that we did mention earlier, that you're more than welcome to talk to us. We're not going to ostracize you, or we're not going to, I suppose, treat people like how we're treated, I suppose. But, we're quite happy to converse and, speak about things, and, provide a different thought pattern. You just need to do all those different things. So I suppose that's the end of my little rant, from my half an hour rant.
And we haven't talked about sourcing yet.
No, that's right. Well, that's what I'm moving on to now. So, like, Blake, you can start us off on sourcing. What do you reckon for sourcing, mate? So if you're looking at everything. All right, that's good. I suppose I'll prefix that. I'll put some caveats on that question. So if you were seen to be, I won't say a new reseller, because that's completely useless. Like, because you wouldn't know the thought pattern of what's going on. If someone came to you in the streets and said, "Hey, look, I'm considering reselling. What should I buy?" How would you approach that question?
Well, first of all, I'd be like, well, find something you're interested in. What do you want to sell, basically, in that? And then go from there and start in that niche, start in that area of what you want to do, and go through every item that a store has, pretty much, or anything, and do your research. That's the only way you're going to do, is get your reps in, do your research, put it in eBay, have a look and see what it's worth. You'll find 95% of stuff won't be worth anything, but then you will find some stuff that is worth stuff, and then you can just add that to your list of mental or in your phone or something of a good brand of stuff. Like, before I even started doing clothing and stuff, I'd start by searching, blue jeans on eBay, and then I'd put that into the search thing and see, all these different brands of jeans, for example, and then I'd take those and type that in with the next word, and I'd do my research that way, so I could sort of see what each of these brands, their sell-through rate is, what they sell for. So there's lots of different ways, but the best way is to just go do the reps and actually, look it up and see what things are really worth. Because, I could tell you to buy this certain thing, but you might be in America and that thing doesn't exist. Or
and that's what I was going to say too. You need to look at what's available in your location too. Unless you're planning on starting as a whole and going wholesale from the start, which I wouldn't advise. Like, you need to sort of do the basic stuff first. But like, you need to know what's available in your area, because no good me saying, well, I'm going to start a, Skylander store, for example, because I've never ever found a Skylander sourcing. So,
But Yeah, like obviously they won't be in America if they approach me on the street, like Octo said. I forgot about that part of the question. But like, no, none of the YouTubers are going to tell you every brand and every little thing that they source, because one, it's probably thousands of different brands and items and whatnot, and two, they're probably gatekeeping to some extent. And I wouldn't blame them. And me, I don't share everything. For example, I don't share my suppliers because I don't want to cut myself out. And, someone that's been doing it for 5 minutes where I've been doing it for years, like I don't want to just be like, hey, here you go. Here's what I've learned over 3 years, because you need to learn for yourself. Otherwise you will fail if you just listen to everyone else. And regardless if it's me or if it's tech or anyone, you got to just, do your own research, do your own reps. And that's how you're going to be able to be a better reseller.
And in all honesty, I mean, you mentioned jeans then. Like, when I came to that day, I came to Ballarat and we went sourcing. Like, I think I came home with, what am I going to say, 50, 60 pairs of jeans. I don't think, I mean, there might have been a couple that were the same brand, but pretty much every single one of them was nearly a different brand. There's so much that you have to learn. Are you bored with us talking about jeans, Octo?
No, it's scratching. Oh, well, I haven't found a pair of jeans with 6 leg holes, so there's no consequence to me. No, but like, I agree with what Blake was saying and what Granny was saying as well. Which for once I agree with Granny. Well, there you go. Write it down. Put your little tally out and say that. Well, there's one time this happened, but I suppose that like to add to what Blake was saying, right, is that I would say what do you enjoy, and like, well, first, what's available to you, right, and then second, what do you enjoy? So we'll just use Funko Pops as a example, and I will put a video to another one, and Granny, remind me again because I will forget. So there's this YouTube couple that I watch in America, right, that they were talking about. Like, there's growing skepticism if Funko's going to survive much longer, right? So, like I've said numerous times, don't go out and take a $30,000 loan to get a Funko account and all these different things, or don't buy $100,000 worth of Funko, because personally I can see them going like the way of Beanie Babies in the next 12 months. But like I said, hopefully 12 months down the track, I'm proven wrong. But we'll just use Funko Pops for example, right? Like what Blake was saying, like, if you've got them in supply or abundance, all those different things. Well, what Granny was saying is, like, don't buy them wholesale, but there's no reason that if you collect Funko Pops and Funko Pops, back to front, and that what certain ones to look for, or how to store them, or all these different things about Funko Pops, you could potentially start buying out people's collection. Put a thing on Facebook saying, hey, look, if you're looking to sell your Funko Pop collection, if it's valued at $100, I'll buy it for $25 or something along the lines of that. So you've got enough profit margin and all those different things. So you don't necessarily have to be what's around you at the start. Like just, I would probably hazard going against, I'd probably go against the grain a little bit and say, don't go to thrift stores or don't go to the op shop straight away, because you'll be just overstimulated. You'll start grabbing everything that's on the shelf, and then you'll come home and say, hey, look, I bought $200 worth of stuff. Oh shit, it's worth $3.60. So you just lost $200. And if anything, that's a very cheap lesson. You've only lost $200. But like I was saying, is that if you like Lego, or if you like Funko Pops, or you like My Little Pony, if you're a freak like Blake. But the fact of the matter is that if you know that product, if you're a collector, being a collector, works. I think being a collector works hand in hand, or tentacle in tentacle, with being a reseller. Is that if you collect something and you know how to source that product, if it's on special at Walmart or Big W or Kmart or wherever you got access to, and you go, well, this product's quite in demand, or it's retiring soon, or it's going out of print soon, go buy it, then flip it on eBay. You need something to, especially at the start, something you can flip quite quickly for that initial cash flow, because like we were talking about before, is that going out and buying $200 worth of stock, if you've only got $200 to spend, or that's how much you can spare for your reselling business, and buying, to say 100 pairs of, just 10 pairs of jeans, right? So you pay $20 each, which is exorbitantly too expensive as it is. But then, you list them on eBay, and you're like, oh crap, I bought the wrong ones, so I can only list them for $14.99 plus post. And we're in the warmer weather now, so that necessarily jeans, they still sell, but they sell slower, and you're a brand new account, so your listings are going to be pushed right to the bottom. So these are the things you need to take into consideration for, right? So these are the things that I suppose from a sourcing perspective is that you want to start sourcing things that you know back to front, I suppose, or that you're prepared to research. And this is where we're probably...
Jeff always uses the term front loading your sourcing. Right. So you're and by that means actually not having the knowledge before you actually go out sourcing. I didn't do that at the start, but then I only had $17 to spend on my first time out. So, it wasn't,
But you bought a Big Mac meal. You bought a Big Mac meal, didn't you? So you had $3 change after it.
No,
but the fact, and that's what I was going to say, that we're going to use that as a segue for tech. Like, and Granny, hit the nail on the head. But what tech portrays is, like you're saying, the front loading thing, and like knowing the product back to front is that, and that's what I was saying is that I'll probably avoid using a thrift store, and like maybe using Facebook Marketplace or using alternative methods of sourcing straight away before you do get a bit of a cash flow. Build a little bit of money up. Don't go out to one of Blake's suppliers and say, hey, look, I want 100 pairs of jeans, and that's going to be what, $500 or whatever they work out to be, because you don't know what you're doing. Like, you need to really reverse engineer what you're doing from an eBay perspective. Is that, and like this gentleman this morning, is that the collection that he had, because he was just like, I suppose, like everyone learns, right? Like everyone doesn't, going back to what we were saying earlier, was that no one knows everything back to front. But by using a YouTuber as the basis of, or like being inspired by a YouTuber or following them blindlessly, it's not going to bode well. Like we were saying earlier.
As a segue to that, so hands up, all of those present that have started off trying to sell, I haven't even said anything yet, tried to sell, bought DVDs at the thrift stores and then tried to resell them and come a big buster with them. Like, haven't worked yet. Okay. So, like, you're going to find a lot of people start off with that because, DVDs are cheap. You watch certain YouTubers and you think, well, going to make a lot of money off DVDs. Yeah, probably not, because you don't know what. Well, I mean, you can, but only if you know what DVDs exactly to buy. And you cannot stand in a thrift store, I don't care what anyone says, and scan DVD after DVD and spend, hours in there scanning it until you find that one DVD that might be worth buying, really.
Well, that's exactly right.
Well, you can. You probably shouldn't, but you can. But
So I think when I first started listening to tech, what the thing I took away from the start was that when he first started reselling, he was first in line. So he would get to the thrift store or the op shop at 9 o'clock before they opened, and he would clear out that op shop or that thrift store, being the first person there. Because, like you said, Granny, is that he front loaded the information, he front loaded the knowledge and all those different things. If you're working at 9 to 5, then you waddle into the thrift store at 12 o'clock because that's your lunchtime or your lunch hour or something along this. You might get lucky and pick up a DVD that's being missed, but by virtue of probability, is probably 6 or 7 resellers have been through that thrift store, or even more. That's probably like quite conservative. By the time you've actually walked in there and they've cleared out the stock, then you do have the issue of that, buying, TV series of worthless junk. Like my rule of tentacle, right, is that if I walk into an op shop and I see 16 copies of Twilight, there's a pretty good chance that it's a crap DVD. Don't buy it. But
there's a reason there are still 16 copies of Twilight sitting there.
What's right? And, Blake's got 16 copies of Twilight on his desk. That's what's holding his model.
I've watched all of them.
Last night.
Yes,
but
I'm a big fanboy.
That's why he sits in a darkened room so he doesn't glitter. But the fact that the thing is though that you need to. A lot of people, what happens, right, is what I find when I research stuff on eBay. Like, if and there's nothing wrong with doing the research when you're not in a store. Like, if you're in a thrift store, like, don't start grabbing everything and hiding in the corner and just basically working your way through all this. I have seen that before, and I'd shake my head. So if you see this person in the corner shaking their head, it's a good chance it's probably this person. But the fact of the matter is that if you are looking at DVDs and all those different things, maybe have a list of the ones that you probably want to look out for, because like Uncle Wayno knows DVDs back to front. That. Two Aussie thrifters knows DVDs back to front by virtue of them buying cartons of them. They buy a pallet load of probably 5,000 DVDs. and then they probably out of that 5,000 DVDs, they get 20 that are worth selling. And they probably. So these are, that's what you need to look at from a perspective. Just don't grab things.
And I'm going on that like with the books, right? Because I'm a bookseller, and people, the first thing they'll ask me, what sort of books do you sell? And they expect me to say like cookbooks and stuff like that, modern books. And, probably 90% of my books don't have a barcode on them because they're vintage and antique books. And one of the things people don't realize is that if you're going to follow that model of buying modern cookbooks and stuff like that, they'll think, they've got value, and they'll pick them up at the thrift store and pay $3 for this really nice cookbook. But cookbooks in general are big. And then they'll get it home and realize it actually won't fit in a small padded mailer. They have to put it in a medium size, which means the buyer of it's got to pay more in the end, and they don't want to pay that much for it. So there's a lot of things to consider. And if you had done your research before on what cookbooks to buy, then you would know that before you went to the op shop and wasted your money.
Before Blake talks, because he's falling asleep, what I would do, right? Look, I can see your eyes. I can see your eyes, Blake. Yeah, these eyes aren't just painted on, mate. I can see everything. The fact of the matter is that you need to look at everything from an objective point of view. And objective was the word I was trying to think of when I was saying earlier, from being dressed up as an octopus, right? Like, you need to look from an objective perspective, right? If I'm selling cookbooks, and Grumpy Granny, I was about to say, she'll correct me if I'm wrong, but she'll correct me anyway, is that if I'm looking for a recipe, I'll just Google the thing. It doesn't necessarily mean I need a cookbook, right? And like you go to a bookshop and you look at the bottom shelf and they're covered with women's weeklies, cookbooks and all those different things. Like, don't buy cookbooks. I don't care what you watch on YouTube, and if there's a bookseller that sells cookbooks in a warehouse, I don't particularly care. Like, if they're doing volume, that's their business model. If you're starting with $15.80, you can't compete with someone that's in a warehouse selling cookbooks for probably 30 cents profit, all those different things.
And look, that being said, I mean, there are some cookbooks that do sell, and I know what they are, and I'm not going to tell you, because what you need to do is actually go and do the research and discover what specific ones that they are that will sell and sell for decent money. But I don't find them very often, so I don't sell them very often.
Yeah, and before I get to your fantastic pairs of jeans, Blake, because I'm riveting and throwing my tentacles in the air in excitement and waiting to hear that, is that, like I've said numerous times, and Granny just said it there, and that's why I triggered, because I just want to keep Blake falling asleep. But the fact of the matter is, if you're listening to a YouTuber for a brand, you've got issues straight up off the ground. Like, you need to, like we were talking about before, is that if you want to say hypothetically, Blake wants to sell jeans, right? There's nothing wrong with going onto YouTube. Don't look at reselling channels. Look at people that sell jeans that like passionate about Levi jeans, or they're like all their channel is revolving around 1973 Levi jeans, and they just do a video once every 3 weeks about these new pair of jeans that they found, and they'll hold the jeans up and they'll go, look at this, look at the stitching, and look at these different things, and this is how you can tell that's from this year, or this different. That's the YouTube channels you want to be watching. You don't want to be watching Blake the reseller, or the Disgruntled Octopus, or Grumpy Granny going through the thrift store with their little GoPro strapped to their head. And picking up a pair of jeans and go, hey, look, I might be able to get $35 for this, because you don't know. Like, I don't know. Granny doesn't know. Blake probably wouldn't know because he's boring. But hey, I won't hold that against him. The fact of the matter is,
a hard time.
I love Blake. I'll
and you know whose fault this all is? Because one of our viewers made the comment that Blake apparently looked like he was going to sleep last week, or the video that was released yesterday.
Wendy, you got no one to prove it. You got no one to blame by yourself.
Yeah, so Wendy, it's all your fault. Really.
I'm not denying it this week. I'm hot as all hell, and I'm crook as a dog. So I need a good sleep.
Someone's got tickets on
fall
themselves.
Fall asleep. Hey.
All those single ladies, if you're after a Casanova, reach out to Blake on Instagram below.
Except I'm not single.
hey, well, that's right. The octopus doesn't care one way or another. But anyway, like I was saying, is that if you are looking at researching a certain product, right? Like Funko Pops, we'll go back to that one because it's just easier to talk about. Is that if you're I know, but it's what I know, right? But if boring. Hey, I know where you live. I know where you both live. You'll be panicking when I come out of the toilet. When the fact of the matter is,
can't we talk about selling like Christmas things? Because
Christmas decorations.
quite obviously, I know about Santa Clauses and Christmas decorations. Apparently, neither of you two do. So you do need to do some research on it, don't you?
All I know about Santa is that I kidnapped him, and we potentially might be letting him out next week. So, but like going back to for Santa's, for example, like look for vintage channels that don't do reselling. That they basically they look at
they're collectors.
They're collectors. These are the ones you need to be doing the research from. Don't blindly follow book resellers or DVD resellers or Funko Pop resellers and all those different things, because I can guarantee you now, if you follow their business model to a T and you don't have the same situation, because you don't, you will fail. That you might come to the point where you're like, oh crap, I'm in a big hole now because I took out a credit card, or I took out a loan, or I did all these different things, or I signed up for a lease for a warehouse, and all these different things you need to take into consideration. Am I picking on anyone? No. Have I seen it happen? Yes. These are the things that I've seen happen because I've been reselling for quite a while. I've seen people take out Lego accounts, then go, oh crap, I get stuck with all the crap that doesn't sell, like the Lego Friends and the Lego City. If you're looking at selling Lego, which I probably wouldn't recommend because it's like flooded market, but you need to look at the products, the high-end market, or the ones that are retiring soon, or out of print ones. You don't want to be signing up to sell Lego because they give you all the crap that that they can't sell. And it's the same as anything else.
It's very hard, isn't it, Octo? And you and I have been there, and Blake may have too, where we've actually had viewers reach out to us who are located at where their business is, and at a loss, and are about to quit reselling. And, they've got 5,000 items of inventory in their store, and they're reaching out for some help. And it's really heartbreaking, with how upset they are and dealing from that side of things. Or maybe that's not the reason they reached out for us, but maybe they're having trouble with their store and they've reached out to us. And it's hard to have to, not that we mind doing it, but it's hard watching someone else be so upset because they thought they were doing the right thing following a YouTuber's business model.
Yeah. So I just want to caveat with that, like before I wake Blake up again, because give him a little massage on his head and make sure he's feeling better about himself, is that if you get to the point where you're reaching out for help, or you're teaching, talking to Grumpy Granny or myself, and I have no problem with this, please, please reach out. Like I said before, I'd rather you have a chat to me than do something stupid. It's probably too late. Let's not sugarcoat it, right? If you've gone down the point of buying 5,000 cookbooks that probably will net you minus 15 cents profit when you sell them, all those different things, it's probably better to liquidate, right? It might be a case of just bundling them all up, putting them on Facebook Marketplace and selling them off. And this is what I said to this this gentleman that I was speaking to this morning, is that what you've got there is trash. I can't say it any other possible way, that you need to recoup those funds, then reinvest them into something else. And like I said, that I haven't delved enough into this person yet to see what interests them. They've got a certain theme behind their YouTube channel, so I'll leave it at that. Potentially, they might go down that perspective. There's nothing stopping them from capitalizing on that theme and potentially niching down into something along the lines of that. So
because you're either going to work out, like as you go along, you either work out something that you do love and already know about, that you realize that has got potential for you to be selling, or on the other hand, you may go towards something which I think Blake has and I have with half of mine. I mean, I love my books, but I can't say that I love my jeans. I mean, I love selling my jeans, and Blake, I'm sure you do with the clothing. It's not that you love clothing, but you love selling it.
I hate clothing, but I enjoy selling it. I enjoy the process of selling it.
Well, I for one am glad that you wear clothing, Blake. That's I won't cut you off anymore.
I can change that if you no one wants to say that. I'm too wide.
So I've been told.
Yes.
But it's women's shoulders.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right. But like I was saying, is that you need to do, and this is what we'll go back earlier, is that what Tech and Sport's saying is you need to front load your stuff. And that can, I suppose, that what I've seen of Tech, and I've been listening to Tech when he was on almost at the start with the Daily Refinement podcast, right, is that as much as I hate saying it, it's the same message over and over and over and over again, right? Like basically Tech's to the fault where he's not so much a marketer. He doesn't, basically he just regurgitates everything straight away, right? So there's probably, I would go as far as to say that if you're a new reseller, you could probably just listen to text content, then you've got everything. So, but
and
I think,
sorry to cut you off, but a thing with his content too, like it's one of those things too, you can watch it even just for motivation, because literally like someone that's done what he's done, listening to him, even in one of his videos, it makes me want to get up and do some more work, even if I'm done for the day. So like that's one thing you can use a lot of these YouTubers for as well, is actual for motivation and stuff like that. So I just want to
don't expect that you can in 2 years' time turn around and be in the position that Tech's in, because it's taken Tech a long time and a lot of hard work to actually get where he's gotten to. So
I'm glad you brought that up, Freddie.
Yeah, but I mean that's probably one of the big things, isn't it? Because people, I think, because of the way he is and how he presents, and he's done so well, and he tells this story about how hard he's worked and all that at different times. But a lot of people at the start don't realise that, and they just look at his success and think, "Oh, well, I could get on there and I mean, he's still a relatively young man too, and get on there and think, well, in a few years' time, that could be me."
That's right. Well, Leanne, stop dribbling. You can see the little dribble coming in your mouth. Getting a bit excited about tech there by the looks of it. But no, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, because what I suppose that my personal opinion, and this will probably upset a lot of people, but hey, I'm an octopus and I don't really care what I say. Right? But this is where it's going to get controversial. So the 55-minute mark is where it's going on this. I think
hide my face so no one knows it's me.
I was going to say, you might want to hide your face. I think tech is a product of his time, and it's non-replicable in this environment, in this market. So if tech was to start today, I'd be highly surprised if he'd be able to reach the same levels of success. So, like I said, I've been digesting his content, so I'm not one of those people that's going to shoot from the hip without listening to it. I've been listening to tech's content for the last probably 2 or 3 years, however long he's doing that. And like last video, we got a comment from someone that was in there saying that, we don't know what we're talking about. But like I said, it's all subjective and all objective. Yeah. And I suppose from my perspective, though, is that if I'm going to be brutally honest, I think that 99.9% of the people that are in tech's Facebook group are either going to fail or they're either going to move away from what they're doing now. So they're not going to be successful into reselling, and they're not going to be nowhere near successful as what tech's doing. That's not to say that all of them are failures, and I wouldn't say failures, that no one's a failure, but that they won't... they won't get to that reselling nirvana, right? Because they, like you said, Leah, is that they don't appreciate, they romanticize about what tech's got now, opposed to what the progression that what tech went through. Like when tech went through eBay, it was he's worked hard, but the fact of the matter is that that the competition that is built over the years. So like he said, he was flipping mobile phones. He'd buy it off Craigslist and flip it for double the money and all these different things. And he had almost a limitless supply of those, right? So that's how he got his. Then once he got to a certain point, he started investing that eBay money into other businesses and all these different things. Is that the way that eBay was 15 years ago when tech first started, or around that time, is that completely different to what it is now, right? And I do, and he did even make the concessions that eBay has changed over time, but I think the fact of the matter is that people are going to come in, like you said, Leanne, if people are going to come in now and they're going to start thinking, well, I could be like tech in 5 years or 15 years, I'll be like tech. It's like completely different market shift, right? Like tech has spent 15 years building his processes. He spent 15 years doing his supplies. He's done 15 years doing everything else and compounding money and all these different things. And like Tech was saying the other day, his average cost of good for a product like completely cleaned and ready to to showcase is $4 something, right? That if we go to a thrift store over here, we're looking about $10, $15, by the time you're getting to, even if you bought it for $6 or $7, by the time you prepare it and you take all the different other costs into consideration, we're up to, $13, $14, $15 per
and then product, you get a lowball offer from a buyer for $12.
Well, that's exactly right. That's right, to move it on. But
there's money in the bank.
Well, that's exactly right. But I suppose my stance is that it's not replicable in this time frame. Is that he yes, he provides a Facebook group which he has access to all his processes and all these different things. But unless you create those processes yourself, unless you create the supply list yourselves and all those different things, you're just basically and he said it for himself. You're just that's it. Wait, smack you. And the thing is,
Sorry.
but like you were saying in a podcast I was listening to last night, your data entry, you basically, he's selling a product, where he's all these different things. From my perspective, and this is going to be controversial again, is that I would rather see tech offer a $10,000 course where you spend maybe a week or 2 weeks with tech just on a one-on-one basis, like those high-level coaching providers do. Then you've basically got tech for 2 weeks, and he just basically rips your business apart, like almost like Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares kind of thing.
Because the thing is, if you're doing it in that way, you have to then go away and be independent and run your own business. And I guess that's one of the things that people might be saying that are members of Tech's group and groups like Tech, where they're actually going in there to be in a group that's teaching them as a mentor group, is that a lot of people become reliant on that. They become reliant on the group and reliant on the group or Tech, or because they see the group itself as Tech, So they see that and they become reliant on that group telling them what to do, when to do it, and they don't ever become independent, and they don't grow because they're stuck where they are, and they just can't move on because they're so reliant on being
I suppose, and I agree with that. And I said numerous times before, I would basically, I'm not speaking on behalf of Tech, but if I was running a group or I had the expertise that Tech does, I would say, hey, look, you've got 6 months from when you join, then you're being thrown out. I expect you to basically grab as much information as you can, then you're being thrown in the street 6 months down the track. Because the fact of the matter is that, like Brenny was saying, and we found it numerous times in the Daily Refinement group, right? And I can't comment if it's the same, but I dare hazard the guess because the vast majority of those people just uplifted from one group and down placed in another group. And I can guarantee you that culture probably still exists, right? But the fact of the matter is that what like I was saying is that, and what Tech said himself is that he likes money. Anything he can do, he wants to turn nothing into money, right? And what better way of doing that is a Facebook group, right? Like, I suppose that, being like, from my understanding, is Tech's downplaying his eBay business and he's winding it down, all those different things. And he has that interest of making money. Like, that by doing a Facebook group, you are doing that. Basically, like I was saying earlier, is that, Tech, you making money is a consequence of Tech making money, right? Like, from my perspective, and this is not a reflection on Tech, is that I wouldn't necessarily care if you make money. And I know he does have like that caveat which says that, he has that 30-day guarantee. You need to make $1 a day or whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is that if I was in that situation, would I particularly care if you make money? Because my sole motivator, and I dare say Tech's the same, is that for him to make money, right? Like, he's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart and all those different things. So you need to look at it from that perspective. And if you are going to engage in these groups and all those different things, exhaust what you can before you go in there. Like, and if you do that, I would dare say you would go into that group and you probably know more than 3/4 of the people in that group. Like, because there are a lot of people that don't do the background work, they don't do all those different things because they romanticize. They think that it's a transactional thing. Like, I pay Granny $50 a month, she's going to give me $100 back a month in value. But that's not how it works.
Instantly going to improve my business without doing the work.
That's exactly right.
When you look at what we went through with Daily Refinement Group, like, they had a really good educational component to it, like the white pages and like the calls, some of the calls, like in a different format, something like that where, all the parts of the white pages were a progression towards you graduating. And then, once you get to your I'm going to say a pre-graduation level, maybe you stay in that group for, an extra couple of months to make sure that you are stabilized at where you want to be. But then, you should be gone because you should be graduated and able to do it on your own and not reliant on the group.
Well, that's right. Liken it to university, liken it to high school. You're not in high school for the rest of your life. You're not in university or college for the rest of your life. At some stage you have to graduate and, cut the umbilical cord and move on, right? And no different from a business perspective, right? Like, and this is what I was saying, is that I have no issue with people paying for their time because let's face it, Tech's business acumen is, quite up there, right? Like, we're not disputing that and all those different things. But I suppose from my perspective,
if he was offering a $99 an hour coaching call, we'd all be jumping on that, wouldn't we?
Well, that's exactly right. Like I was saying, hey, look, you need to provide that information for free. But the fact of the matter is, and like Leanne was saying earlier on, is that you need to have your ducks in a row, have your questions in a row that it's applicable to you. Like, just don't go, I'm going to start reselling on the 1st of January, and then the 2nd of January I'm going to pay $60 to join, Tech's group or Leanne's group or Blake's group.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that if you did want to do that, you could join the $4.99 tier, which, as I said, is about $8 or $9 Australian, and do that, and listen to a couple of his calls, and by then you will have a good idea of what you want to do and which way you want to proceed, and you could have all your questions ready, and you could get Tech to answer them in person in one of those calls that he does with that group, all for the low price of $4.99 a month.
Yeah, I suppose from your perspective, Blake, what would you think that you would need to take your business to the next level? Are you happy with what you're looking at?
Look, personally, I'm, like I sort of touched on before, I'm very independent, I guess. So for me, I think that me learning from my own mistakes and me growing, and, I might, just for me growing, I might take on another supplier and that might blow up in my face, but that's how, I'll learn from that. But I don't think the use of a mentorship or something like that would really help me, because I learn better from doing my own thing personally. So for me to take me on to my next level is just pretty much keep doing what I'm doing and learn more as I go. It's sort of the way I see that. So I'm not saying I just want to be complacent and stay exactly where I'm at, but I'll grow better myself if I can just sort of just grow and learn and stuff up. Make a lot of mistakes, I think. And so that's how I'd take mine to the next level. But something I sort of wanted to say just about something you said before was just that I think that if you're relying on, and there's a difference between joining one of these groups and taking on the info, that's fine. But if you're actually relying on it for someone saying that, this is how much you need to do a day, this is what you need to do, this is how you should do it. Personally, I don't think that sort of person really should be a business owner, or they're really made to be. It might be controversial. I think they're more suited to an employee role, because if you need to be told what to do every day by someone else on how to run your own business, it's not going to work. It's not.
Watch out, boys and girls, and I agree with both of what they're saying. But have you heard? Both of them have said the word controversial. So we're buggered this week, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's the hard truth, and it is.
No, it is. It is.
If you need someone else to, I guess, tell you to, okay, you better get out of bed at 10 a.m. this morning, and you got to go and do your shipping first, and then you've got to go and list 10 a day and do another 5 for the draft bank and this and that. You need to be able to motivate yourself and to be able to actually drive yourself. Because if you can't drive yourself to do it, you don't want it enough. That's another thing.
And there's a big difference in also taking into consideration people doing it full-time versus part-time, because a full-time person doesn't need the income. So you have to take that, and so therefore they can do, sleep in and do what they like. That's fine. But if you're full-time, you can't.
Yeah. So what Granny means is that you're full-time 9 to 5 and doing eBay on the part side. Then she meant full-time with the full sense.
Yeah.
You said full-time twice. But the fact of the matter is, and what I agree with Blake, right, is that, backing on to the back of our previous video, someone became quite vocal and quite emotional and all these different things about what they expected to see in our video, right? They did about 6 or 7 little Instagram shorts in a row about how we're the devil incarnate and all these different things. You're not a business owner. You will never be a business owner if you're that emotional and you lose your shit over the smallest thing like that. How are you going to go if, like what Blake was saying, if he approached the supplier and spent $10,000 on a supplier and, that was a scam artist and all those different things, would he start going on an Instagram rampage where he does a story, breaking down all these different things? You need to be, I suppose, somewhat emotionally stable, and you need to be objective in all these different things. You need to look from a perspective and say, hey, well, look, I need to do this, or I need to take risk and all these different things. And there's nothing wrong with what Blake was saying, is that, putting a percentage across from your sales, if you make $100 profit, maybe putting $15 into a separate bank account called research and development. And that's where you can, spend money on products. You go, well, I don't necessarily think this is going to work, but I'll try it because I got $1,000 just in a slush fund or something like this. This is not straight up. Don't buy it straight up. But when you stabilize. Like if you've got a
Yeah.
kitty of $100,000 or $10,000 or $1,000, have maybe 15% of that put aside to a different niche or something you want to research. And and if you do crash and burn from that perspective, that's not going to hurt. And like this, what we're saying is that, and what Blake was saying as well, is I agree with, is that if you need your hand held, you're not, and we've said this numerous times before, and we did get a bit of flack behind it, is that like there's nothing wrong initially, like going through like from a business course, and that's what we said before. Go to a business course; they're probably free. Like learn how to do.
When you're on your feet.
That's right. Your local government or your national government, wherever you are, might have that provide courses or schooling to do the initial business course, for example, like that. Once you've done ticked all those boxes, and you've got a general fundamental of how tax works, how your income works, how to handle money. You don't go joining the Facebook group. If you're doing stuff. Wait a second, I've got to scream at the dog.
Oh dear.
Oh God.
Well, obviously poor puppy. That's all I can say.
I want to say something, and I don't cut him off. Here he goes back.
I'm back.
He came back too quick.
I told the dog off. I should have went out the window. But but like I was saying, is that you need to look at it from a perspective is that you need to have your ducks in a row. Like like I said, that
100%.
Like I said, that I don't know Tech personally. I've never spoken to the man about anything other than like business, I suppose. So you don't. I'm not going to say he's a fantastic person because I don't know him. Like people that may know him think he's a fantastic person. That's good. But the fact of the matter is, I respect his business and I respect his acumen and how hard he's worked to get where he's at the moment. You need to replicate that. You need to replicate that. Need to forego 12 hours of sleep a day, or forego your family holiday, or forego all these different things to set up.
Is that your cat too, making all that noise?
I know. This is
what's going on in
happens.
your house. The animals are going wild.
Catfish and a dogfish. Don't have them. They're
got a zoo.
I was about to say. I'm about to throw my tickle at him. Look, here we go. Whee!
It's about what is it when it's about to be a mutiny?
I was about to say there is the cat probably wants seafood for lunch. But the fact of the matter is, and I know I'm probably repeating myself now, is that you need to know your products. And I know we've done an episode about knowing how to source and all these different things. Is that that joining up and expecting tech to hold your hand for indefinitely is just a recipe for disaster. Tech relies, from what I've seen, on coaches. A lot of those coaches have a YouTube presence. Like, are they necessarily the best people to be in those coaching positions? Probably not. It's probably a business decision to use those YouTube coaches to be those those coaches for those different things, because they have their own audience. They're bringing people in. Because like if I was, like I said, look, you making money is a consequence of tech making money, right? Like, and I'm going to say that to the cows come home, is that and Tech's quite smart, and he said numerous times before he wants to be the best of what he does. He likes making money of nothing. What better way of building your group and bringing more money into the group than using people with a higher profile on YouTube and all those different things. And and the gentleman himself, Tech himself's got quite a significant following now in a short amount of time on YouTube. But these are, like I'm saying, is that you need to look from your perspective and saying, well, look, and we've said before, is stop idolizing these people. Stop following them blindly.
Except for us, you're quite welcome to idolize us.
Well, you can idolize Blake as much as you like.
Please don't idolize me. I'm just a dude.
I was about to say he's quite wide from what I've said. So if anyone's into that, where to hit him up.
We won't fit through a doorway together, I can tell you that.
What are you saying about our female followers? Oh, that's a bit rude. Jesus,
I'm just saying I can barely fit through one myself.
But the fact of the matter is you need to stop idolizing it. And like I said, if this gets you back up and you start leaving comments on the YouTube channel and all these different things, and put on Facebook stories and YouTube stories and Instagram stories and everything else you do, and how you compare us to Greek gods and all these different things, there's probably something. Probably something unhinged. You're probably more slightly unhinged than a guy wearing an octopus outfit. Put it that
well, maybe.
That,
because, and as I said to you, I've spoken to Tech, but that's the thing. He's got a great business mind and all the rest of it, but he is just a man. He's just a bloke.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just infuriates me. People don't look from an objective perspective, right? Like,
they don't.
look at it. Like I wouldn't, go invest in a business or do business with someone without looking 100 times over the contract or all these different things. You need to look at it from this perspective. And like we've said, you need to graduate. You can't just stay around forever and start forking out, because eventually your return on investment will become below zero. Because if, like I said, that all your content that I've ingested over the last 3 years, it's all the same stuff. Like I can tell you now, like it is the same stuff over and over and over again. And that's not to say that Tech does all these different things. And when Tech does videos about like I've found $15,000 in the thrift and all these different things, that's because he knows what he's looking for. 15 years of experience, like you can't replicate that. It's always like clickbait to a perspective, is that if you're thinking you could go into a thrift store and just pull out $15,000, unless you know what you're looking for, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So, I think I'm done ranting.
Well, you're done ranting? Well, I hope so. It's been hard.
You've done very well today, Octo. You got lots of work in.
Frankie.
He did.
But like I was saying, is that you need to,
we shouldn't let it keep going.
No, that's right. And I think this is the reason why I've become more disgruntled than normal this week, is because it's that time of the year where people see a lot more advertisement, for a lack of a better term, for reselling or for making money or get quick rich schemes and all these different things. And that's not lumping tech in with it. So don't come chasing me with your spear guns thinking that I'm telling tech's a scam or all those different things. There are a lot of YouTubers that are scams. I can guarantee you that, and I can tell you off my top of my head.
Yeah, and there's already videos, like several of them out there that are how to sell on eBay in 2024.
Well, it gets a lot of views, and they make a lot of money off of those views. So
and Grumpy Granny might even make one for you.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah, that's right.
You're a walking contradiction.
What a seller.
No, look, I just make little ones, short ones every day, and give them one little tip. So I could do the whole 2024.
You're doing well. I can't even put out one a week.
Well, you're excused at the moment because you are sick, so we'll let you off.
Yes.
Yeah, and I suppose that, and what you see quite frequently, you see on TikTok, you see on Instagram, and you see all these different things, like 20 things in the thrift will sell for you every time or something like that. Like, and we've said numerous times before, if they're entertainment videos only, do not write down a list of Pokemon cards or Beanie Babies and all these different things. And like that, we have no problem with people. I have no problem with people like socializing, like we were talking about last week with communities and all those different things. Just choose the right one. If you're looking into the Octopus's community or the Grumpy Granny's community, do some research, do some background checks. All right, I'll check out Grumpy Granny's community page, and all of a sudden she's dribbling about Greek gods and how she's the best in medicine. Maybe she's slightly unhinged. Maybe you should not go down that path. So maybe, like I said, you need to take it from a grain of salt, because people become indoctrinated, and we find that all the time. And we found that with our previous videos, that our initial video, like we said previously, we just wanted to improve things for the Australians, and the amount of backlash from the Australians and from Australians that should know better, like between the lines then.
And not only from Australians, but from international people that really had no business responding that way, because they, had no idea what we were on about anyway, as far as the things that we wanted to improve. And actually it had a real personal attack at me, and they hadn't even watched the video, had no idea what we were saying.
Yep. And
before it even came out, I think.
Yeah, and you're not gonna. We're not here to please everyone, right? Like, we know full well we're not going to please everyone. And nor do we attempt to, because it's quite complicated to do.
Octo does have his big boy pants on, and so does Blake, and I have my big girl panties on, so we can take it.
That's right. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm more than happy to engage in reasonable conversation. If you're going to be emotional, I won't respond, because there's no interest to me to deal with an irrational person, because I've already dealt with one nutcase. I don't need another one chasing me. But like I said, if you want to have a legitimate conversation and you say, hey, I don't necessarily agree with what you said about tech, or I don't agree with what you said about sourcing, or I don't agree with what you think about Blake's facial hair, have a chat with me. Like I said,
looking good, by the way.
We can agree. We can agree to disagree.
Absolutely. We're all grown-ups. We can have different opinions.
Yeah, Everyone has different opinions, and
Yep.
we're not just doing it to crap on these people either. Like, it's not anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, I've got nothing but respect for tech. So,
Yeah,
you know,
me
it's
too.
nothing like that. It's just use your brain before you go throwing all your
Yeah.
money into all these
Exactly.
different things. And don't listen to all the YouTubers. Like, I say all the time, don't listen to me just in what I say in my videos, because 6 months ago, those things don't apply. Like,
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
the truth. So don't listen to me. If you want to know more about what I do, message me and
Yeah.
I'll reply to you.
mean-
But if you message, like, not saying that it means they're a bad person, but if you're messaging someone, you know, that you're looking up to that has like 100,000 subscribers and they don't get back to you, then, I mean, chances are they're
Yeah.
doing it probably for
Yeah.
YouTube more than.
And I mean, there's a difference too, Blake, isn't there? Like, I mean, some of you do your show and tell of what you get in and what you sell, but then sometimes you'll do the odd video like you did with your laundry video. Well, okay, keep that. That'll go forever. Like, you can watch that in 12 months' time and it's not going to be out of date. But if you're
That's why I
watching the
did it.
stuff that
Yeah.
you're actually selling and sourcing and it's 12
It's not
months
gonna-
old, it's not going to be
Yeah.
relevant. It
It's not
might
gonna
be, but it
apply.
might not be.
Yep, exactly right.
And yeah,
And
look, and Q4 as well. Like, yeah, you see inflated numbers around Q4, and people, sharing their Facebook, their group, their eBay numbers, and Macari numbers, and every other platform they use.
Yes.
You see that email?
Sorry. Well, there's a lot of people going to be very disappointed this morning when they look on their phone app and see that it now includes all their cancelled sales, all their refunded items, and all their sales that they had that are unpaid. Because there's always a big difference on the phone app.
Oh, is that all changed?
For the 90 day, it's now, So now, well, mine is.
Oh.
So instead of, there was always a big discrepancy between what you saw as your 90-day figure on your phone app as compared to what was on the actual computer platform.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, boys and girls, your 90-day figures are probably going to look pretty crappy today. If you look on your phone.
I've gone down $300. That's it. Which is
that's pretty good.
So I don't know, but I don't really get many cancellations or returns and stuff.
Yeah, I probably didn't take any notice of what mine was yesterday compared to today, but I did notice that it changed.
Yeah. Jazz from 2 Aussie Thrifters did mention that hers changed yesterday, so it is being rolled out. So, but I think just to sum everything up, because like, it's been quite a very serious podcast. We've had to wake Blake up 4 times, so one more time he's fired. But the fact of the matter is you just need to do your own research. Like, do not there. I suppose, and I'm going to cop a bit of flack from this. I'll be very hard to find in Australia someone that I would follow blindly on the YouTubing space. Self-proclaimed. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with watching Blake and go, oh, I really like how he does that, or watching Grumpy Granny, I really like how she does that. And combining, take the best elements from everyone. And there is redeemable qualities from everyone, right? So regardless if you don't like my octopus head, there's something that I might say or do that you might like and you can take away and implement your own business. But just don't try and make a cookie cutter replica of someone that's in a warehouse selling books, or someone's on the Gold Coast selling DVDs, or someone's in a warehouse in Adelaide, or someone's sitting on their lounge playing with a dog in Tarralgon, wherever the hell Uncle Wayno is. But
I know every one of them. I love it.
I was about to say, but the fact of the matter is that you need to look from a perspective and say, hey, look, I really like the way that this person sells DVDs, or how he sources, or how he uses an employee, or I like this person, how that she's got her warehouse set up, or I like all these different things. Everything doesn't apply to you. Stop copying these people like blindly, and and stop trying to replicate it, because you will fail, and I can guarantee you that. I don't want to get to a point like Granny is saying, is that where people reach out to us and say, hey, look, I've been following Grumpy Granny religiously, and I've been doing everything she's done, and I'm failing, because you don't know her her model. Like, and we've said numerous times, work to your advantages. If you're living in a capital city that and prices are high, drive further out, or start shipping stuff into you, like on Facebook Marketplace. Reach out to people and say, hey, Blake, I know you got your Game Boy games or whatever you got. Do you mind if I pay $10 and ship them to me? No worries, mate. Like, then that's stock coming in. Like, you don't necessarily need to research or kind of sourcing your local area.
You do need to research. You do need to research.
So do research. But what I'm saying is that you don't need to just exclusively look at your local area. Look across the Australia, look across the world, and know your products. Don't, like for virtual video games, right? Like, don't import stuff from North America if it doesn't play on Australian TVs, or vice versa. Like, this is the stuff that you need to look at.
That could be a big faux pas.
Yeah,
I have heard someone done that. They brought over $15,000 worth of stock, because we have a different.
And boys and girls,
code.
if you're trying to work out who the octopus really is, I just want to say, take note of the people, the YouTubers that he didn't mention in that little diatribe that he just did before. Think about that.
Well, I've got no hair, so I can't be John the Reseller.
it's me.
I don't know. Are you John the Reseller? Oh, there we go.
Oh, the magic of editing. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. But
it could even be me.
It
could even be me.
Well, like I said, well, that's right. Little do people know that the octopus is pre-recorded. So I just do a voiceover at the top. So yes, but like I was saying, is that you just need to do your research. Stop following people blindlessly. I will stand on that hill and I will defend that hill till the cows come home. You won't win that argument. I can tell you now that if you're arguing because you follow someone's model and it's working for you, good. But
good
I can
for you
guarantee
if it is. Yeah, good for you if it is.
But, get the Guinness Book of Records because it's never going to happen again. So,
yeah.
But
anything to add?
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, we probably should wrap up because the NBN man's going to be knocking on my door again shortly.
No,
probably hasn't left.
No, he's been sitting
it's probably
on the
sitting out the
doorstep.
front of his car. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't cut the internet, Blake. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, I was on the same thing. Now I need to come and fix it.
No. Well, the internet's already not working, and I'm on 4G backup. So until he comes and fixes it, that's what he's here to do.
Well, enjoy that.
Cool.
Well, I will once I've got internet back.
So I think our next episode is going to be a bit of at this stage, it's going to be a bit of a special release. It won't be coming out on a Tuesday. It'll be our Santa interview, as long as Santa gets back to me. I've misplaced Santa, so I need to find where I put Santa.
Yeah, it's just a bit busy at the moment.
Yeah, so something about doing toys and all these different things. So we'll be having an interview with Santa. So make sure you behave yourselves, or Santa will call you out by name. Yes. I might actually have to do that. Well, I might have Santa call out the resellers that are all jerks to me. I wonder how much time he's got to go through them all.
A naughty list and a nice list of resellers.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll put it this. We've only got time for the naughty
YouTube channel.
I was going to say, we've only got time for the naughty list because there's no nice resellers.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. But I said, we'll probably roll that out on either Thursday or Friday. We'll keep an eye on Instagram and we'll do that as a special presentation. So that'll be coming out a bit later next week or this week where we release this thing. But thank you again, Blake and Leanne, for your time, and thank you for watching. If you got this far, and make sure you like, subscribe to both their channels if you're still here. Get your pitchforks and torches, and and I suppose we can extend. I would get if someone's listening to the dying the embers of the video, is that if Tech wants to do a reach out, or if he wants to engage in conversation, we're more than happy to have him on this podcast. But I don't think he would. But
I think he's above that.
Well, that's right. But what I'm saying is that but I would argue that not us particularly, because like Blake's saying, right, we're quite small fish in the sea, right? I would rather see someone interview Tech from the Australian perspective that doesn't know Tech. So someone like maybe Uncle Wayno, or someone that doesn't have no buy-in and doesn't admire it. Just basically
Brad and Jazz, for example, or
I wouldn't even. I was thinking about Two Aussie Thrifters, but I think Brad's a bit of a fanboy. But I want someone that's like no hold barred, just goes for the throat, conversation kind of thing. So just basically.
Well, okay. I'm thinking of one person, but then they'd have to take their mask off. Yeah, okay. All right.
I'll go back to VB. All right, I'll catch you next week.
All right.